I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, August the 31st, and how quick the summer has gone by. But brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards. They've got a pretty good run here on this Monday. Going to start early, going to have 6,000 head feeder cattle and calves on offer there. Talk about your feeder cattle auctions all the time at Joplin, but don't always mention their cow and bull sales that they have every Wednesday, and usually have a good run, 700, 800, maybe 1,000. Be a typical run from them. Last week didn't have quite that many, but they had their top cows up to $75 and bulls up to $102. So if you're looking for a good place to market your cows and bulls, or even replacement stock there, Joplin's a good place to do that. Let's talk about what happened last week. We started off with the cattle on feed report, the results of that from a week ago Friday, and very bearish, and it was a little bit unusual to see fundamentals affect the market that much, but sure enough they did. And the board was down hard pretty much all week long on feeder cattle and live cattle contracts. CME announced that they're going to have expanded limits that are going to go, daily limit moves going to be a lot bigger than what we normally see. They're going to make things very, very volatile. It's going to be harder on your smaller producers. They can't stand the volatility. They've continued to raise the margins on those contracts, and it's getting where it's too expensive for typical independent producer to hedge themselves. And now with these new expanded daily limits, it almost makes that riskier than the investment itself. So I think there's going to be some blowback on that, or I've already saw some. Not sure how much they can do about it, but it will raise the awareness of it before it enacts, and they're scheduled to do that about first part of October there, I think around the 5th there. But we saw your board go down hard. Like I said, this week it caused your basis to tighten, and then we got towards the end of the week and guys were just puking fats again, basis jumping, and they weren't jumping at anything that was going to help them. It was just that the basis was tighter than what they'd seen for quite a while. But we did get some good news there late in the week there, kind of over the weekend, and we'll see if that does anything for this week. We're really looking for something. We've kind of run out of things here to be positive about. We need some new ones coming out of Asian part of the world there. Taiwan has said that they are going to ease restrictions for both pork and beef imports into their country, and that they had the pork completely shut off. So they're going to ease those up a little bit, and then they're going to allow some trace products that the pork industry has had in there that they had restricted, and they're going to back off the zero tolerance and kind of allow for some trace amounts in there, which is very easily happens whenever you're shipping big loads of red meat over to another country. But as far as the beef, they're going to back their restrictions there and allow 30-month-old and older animals, but likely that means they're going to start taking more. We don't have that big a problem with 30 months or older animals, but if they're easing restrictions, that means they're going to start taking more. They had put those 30 months of age restrictions in way back in 2003 when we had the mad cow disease. So it's been a long time coming for this, so we're hoping that we can get something done here. I haven't give you guys any quotes on some shipped in calves for a while. You guys know that Ellison Carter is a friend of mine down there in Santo, Texas, just west of Weatherford, Texas, right there in the central Texas region there, where they have all those mom and pop sales there, and he's a big order buyer in that country. And once in a while I'll get him to give me some quotes out of there. You guys that are starting to think about ordering some calves to turn out on wheat, I know a lot of you haven't even gotten it in the ground yet, but you're going to need to get those cattle in and straighten them up for 30 days or so you need to start thinking about it. Ellison was telling me down in that central Texas area, where all the small producers are and the runs are big. He says they're running big right now. He said they've been really dry, and I was down there doing a talk down around Cisco there a month and a half ago, and it was dry then. He said they haven't hardly had any rain since then, and I tell you what, they are dry, and they're not used to being dry, so that's kind of tough. Well, he's seeing a lot of big numbers of lightweight calves come in to the sales, and so they're shipping a lot of cattle out of there. Those calves are coming in a thin condition, which is what you guys want. That means they got a lot of compensatory gain there. You know, I've always told you guys, you don't ever want to buy anything that you don't plan on giving a better home to them than what they had. Well, they haven't been having that great of a home because it's been so dry. Cows not giving a lot of milk, not much pickings around, and starting to see big runs of lightweight calves. This could mean there won't be as many of those calves to buy, you know, in a few weeks when you would typically start getting your wheat cattle in. So you may want to start getting in there. Going to give you some quotes. These are all delivered, leaving Central Texas, going to Oklahoma or Texas Panhandle. These are delivered prices, guys, on steers and bulls put together kind of cattle there that you could give EC Cattle Company an order for. Load weighing 301 pounds at 176. This would be steers and bulls mixed. 358 pound load, bring 170, 150 delivered. 418 pound steers and bulls, 159 delivered. 569 pounders at 151. Then he gave me some individual loads there. Load of steers. They were all steers and good quality and in a thin, good condition there that you would really like when you got them in. And I tell you what, they would stick their heads in the bunk and go to town if you got them to your place. But this load of all steers, 532 pounds, delivered for $146.19. Kind of something you might can work with, guys. How about some plain steers and bulls? And I mean, they'd be spotted up, colored up, have some horns on them and things like that. But 513 pounds at $112.37, steers and bulls. Sounds pretty cheap. Then another load of good all steer load there, 616 at $144.50 delivered. And then a load of plain cutting bulls. You guys know what those are, just some big old gangly kind of cutting bulls, but I tell you what, you get them in, get them cut, get them going, and I mean, they're a pretty good deal. Aggressive eaters there. 691 pound plain cutting bulls delivered for $111.50. There's some room in those cattle, guys. How about some heifers? Load weighing 312 delivered at 147, 365 at 141, 462 pound heifers at 135, 516 pound heifers at 133, and told me about a load of plain heifers, and then they would be plain, guys. 556 pounds delivered to you for 103. Now that's something you could got some room in them. Maybe you don't want to put them up by the road, but if you're making money, who cares, guys? Let's talk about the board for last week. August live cattle futures, Monday down 22 cents, Tuesday down 7 cents, Wednesday down $1.45, Thursday down $1.07, Friday up 22 cents to end the week with August live cattle, which were still trading on Friday at 103.22, down 258 for the week. October ended the week at 104.90. Tell you what, that's less than what our weighted average is going to be, so we don't have anything to look forward to as far as the board giving us any support going into the fall here. But 104.90, that's down 365. You go on out to April. April's always your best month. That's your best month to try to hedge to. Everybody's always shooting for April. It was close to 120 here just a few days ago. Now it's ended the week at 115.35. That's why you're seeing those middleweight cattle actually bring more money than your lighter weight stockers. But September feeder cattle in September, August went off the board late last week at 141.97. Now the spot month is September. Feeder cattle down $2 on Monday, up 22 on Tuesday, down $1.30 on Wednesday. Thursday was down 55. Friday down $1.20. Ending the week was September at 140.02, down $4.83 for the week. October 140.17 to end the week there. Your fat cattle trade through Thursday, 82,000 head had moved in your 5-area feeding region. Cash compares to 94,500 the previous week and just 45,700 same week a year ago, and we were right in the middle of trying to get through the Holcomb fire, if you remember, a year ago. But you look at your prices last week on live steers and heifers in the 5-area feeding region, 103 to 107, and largely your live cattle prices on fats last week in your 5-area were about $1 lower. But if you go to the end of the previous week, we were on the upswing, and in the end of this last week, it was coming down progressively lower. So your weighted averages are going to be a lot more than just $1 lower. But 103 to 107 was your price range last week through Thursday, and not much sales on Friday. But through Thursday, your weighted average on live steers was 105.12. Dressed steers and heifers ranged in price from 163 to 168. It's about $2 lower, but it's really going to be more than that because we were on the decline there late in the week. But dressed steers ended the week, or didn't end the week, but through Thursday, 166.52. On Friday, hardly anything. A few loads in the northern plains around 167. Just a few deals in the southern plains, mostly all at 104. So just some kind of cleanup business there on Friday. Box beef cutout values, your weighted average for last week on all the volume that they sold, which wasn't very many because they'd cranked those cutouts so high that they were getting a little bit of pushback there. But choice cuts, your weighted average price for last week's movement was $229.91. That was $7.41 higher than the previous week, but it started coming down late last week, and we've kind of seen the high for your box beef cutout values too, because we're getting past your Labor Day demand. But select movement last week, your weighted average price was $213.35, up $7.84 for the week. Only 561 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings last week, and that is a lot lower than what we've been seeing. Your slaughter for last week, 654,000. That's 2,000 more than last week, just 1,000 more than the same week a year ago. But I wouldn't doubt in 2 weeks when we get the actual slaughter data back, we probably did an eclipse a year ago. We'll have to see about that. But we've been having a hard time reaching year ago figures on our slaughter. But we did have a good Saturday there with 66,000 head. So that was a good deal. Let's talk about some of your feeder cattle auctions last week that we saw around. Your real-time index ended the week at 139.99 after spending almost all of August up in the 140s. It dropped below 140 here very, very late in the month, but that 139.99 was down $3.41 for the week. You look at your sales, your feeder calves, your big weaned fall-born calves going right to feed, which guys were really after because they will make that April board, and that's what your farmer feeders are kind of looking at. They like to feed calves. But those feeder calves and the yearling feeder cattle, $2 to $5 lower. That goes right along with what your real-time index was, down 341. But your calves, your stocker type calves, your lighter weights, unevenly steady, and not seeing too many of them around, except for in places where it's gotten really dry, like Central Texas there, where I was telling you about Ellison. If you wanted to order some of his calves, go to Ellison Carter Cattle. That's .com, EllisonCarterCattle.com. You can go on there and find that contact information. But let's look at some of your top sales late in the week last week. Mankato Livestock, Mankato, Kansas, 108 steers. Big steers weighed 945, 135.75. Crawford Livestock Market in Crawford, Nebraska on Friday, 110 head of 831-pound steers sell for $147.60. That was a stick out deal. But a deal that I got late on Thursday out of Fairview, Illinois. Get some information now. They're going to work on them and see if we can't start getting them automated. But this come from Brian Curlis, world champion livestock auctioneer, and a friend of mine. He was selling these cattle. several loads of top sales on there, but Rex McClure going to get top billing out of Fairview again this time with 2 loads of 7-weight steers around 780 pounds. One of them bring 155.50. The other load wins 780, bring $157. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.